1 million jobs gone. America's labor market is worse than the Great Depression. In just 10 months, over 1 million American jobs have disappeared. This dramatic headline calls us to pause, reflect, and understand the deep economic wounds shaking our nation. Across cities and towns, families face uncertainty as critical positions vanish amid a crisis that draws unsettling historical parallels. Today, we examine unprecedented job losses, expert insights, and the echoes of past economic turmoil. Recent statistics reveal that by March 2025, the United States lost approximately 1.1 million jobs. This represents a stark 65% increase in pace compared to the previous year. October alone reported 153,074 cuts, a figure not seen in over 20 years. Such statistics push us to confront the reality of a rapidly deteriorating labor market, where stability is replaced by uncertainty. As we navigate these numbers, the scale of federal layoffs looms large, with nearly 300,000 federal positions eliminated this year alone. The Department of Veterans Affairs, for example, experienced a painful cut of 17,000 jobs. Every number in this narrative tells a story of families disrupted, dreams deferred, and a nation at a crossroads. Economic analysts are drawing sharp comparisons between today's turmoil and the dark days of the Great Depression. While our society has evolved, the economic dislocation carries a familiar ring: struggling families, a retreat from hope, and policy responses that often feel belated. The Bureau of Labor Statistics now warns that between April 2024 and March 2025, the economy produced 911,000 fewer jobs than originally reported. This revision deepens concerns and forces policymakers to grapple with a reality harsher than anticipated. We find ourselves living history, watching an economy unravel similarly to those of past crises, facing a specter that many had thought confined to history books. The crisis finds its roots in many factors. The rise of artificial intelligence has irreversibly altered the employment landscape, displacing over 20,000 roles. Despite record profits reported by tech giants like Microsoft and Intel, the march of automation brings loss, uncertainty, and a shift in workforce dynamics. AI has spurred efficiency, but at a cost that resonates deeply for those whose skills are rendered obsolete. Meanwhile, traditional industries struggle to adapt and reinvent themselves in this shifting paradigm. Each innovation comes with both promise and peril, challenging America to balance progress with economic security for its workforce. The narrative is not confined to raw statistics alone. It is a story about people. Nearly 7.1 million Americans are now unemployed, a number that translates into real-life struggles for everyday citizens. Families that once relied on steady income now face sleepless nights over bills and daily expenses. A sense of collective anxiety has seeped into communities, where local businesses shutter and civic morale wanes. The unemployment rate, lingering between 4% and 4.2% since May 2024, signals more than just a statistic. It marks a profound disruption in the American way of life. The labor force participation rate has fallen to 62.2%, the lowest recorded mid-2025, suggesting many are retreating from an increasingly competitive job market. However, amid despair, conversations are emerging that echo the resilience of past generations. Historians and economists alike point to earlier crises, including the Great Recession, which saw an 8.8 million job loss, with monthly plunges as steep as 818,000 in January 2009. Today, federal sector cuts and automation-driven layoffs intensify the feeling of déjà vu. Leaders and policymakers are revisiting old debates, trying to balance fiscal responsibility with urgent reform. The pain of lost opportunities sharpens the debate, forcing us to confront questions about the future of American work and the policies needed to restore hope. In expert roundtables and public forums, voices of authority dissect the multifaceted causes of our labor market's decline. Economists explain that our current downturn is not merely the product of cyclical market forces, but rather a transformation triggered by technology and policy missteps. They remind us that recovery requires innovative thinking, strategic intervention, and a willingness to adapt to disruptive change. In many ways, the crisis is both historical and contemporary, a cautionary tale that warns us against complacency and underscores the interconnectedness of policy choices and everyday lives. As we move deeper into this economic narrative, visualizations of raw data and archival footage of past downturns serve to contextualize the modern crisis against a backdrop of historical echoes. Graphs detail the rapid decline in employment, juxtaposed with images of previous eras where uncertainty was the norm. These visuals remind us that every economic contraction leaves communities scarred, yet equally capable of renewal. While today's challenges are uniquely modern, the human spirit shown in the struggles of the Great Depression suggests that recovery remains within reach if collective action is taken. This report is not simply a lament of economic statistics. It is a call to examine the policies shaping our livelihoods. We now face questions that demand answers. What policy missteps have allowed this crisis to deepen? How can government intervention better support an economy in flux? Many believe that a robust policy response is essential. Experts propose a balanced strategy, one that fosters technological advancement while protecting vulnerable workers. Proposals include retraining programs, greater investment in education, and incentives for businesses to create sustainable jobs in emerging sectors. The policy debate, charged with urgency, reminds us that today's decisions determine tomorrow's economic stability. In the realm of politics, sharp divisions often cloud urgent action. Some argue that market corrections should prevail without governmental interference, while others insist that bold regulatory reforms are needed to shield Americans from the worst impacts. This debate is reminiscent of historical arguments during previous eras of economic hardship. On one side, advocates for free market approaches warn against overregulation, fearing it may stifle innovation. Conversely, proponents of strong government oversight point to decades of inequality and suffering that have compounded during economic downturns. In this tension, the path ahead remains uncertain, yet the need for informed debate is undeniable. While experts and policymakers engage in these debates, everyday Americans continue to shoulder the weight of the crisis. Job cuts in the federal sector are not just numbers. They represent the loss of expertise and institutional knowledge that take years to build. For the veterans who served our nation, and for the civil servants who maintained our infrastructure, these cuts are deeply personal losses. Meanwhile, the ripple effect touches small businesses, local communities, and the overall consumer confidence that drives our economy. The human cost is etched in every figure, every percentage point, urging us to look beyond statistics and see the real impact on lives. In turnaround moments of this economic drama, voices from within the community provide hope and direction. Local leaders cite innovative community programs that have begun retraining displaced workers and reconnecting them to emerging sectors. These pilots, though modest, signal that recovery may be built from the ground up through cooperation and targeted support. The resurgence of player-led initiatives, civic partnerships, and grassroots movements offers a glimmer of optimism amidst data that could otherwise seem overwhelmingly bleak. It is a moment to remember that crisis also fuels creativity and resilience. As the crisis unfolds, it forces every observer, whether a policymaker, economist, or citizen, to ask, how can we rebuild? The answer is both economic and moral. Rebuilding demands a deliberate investment in human capital and innovation. Educational initiatives, technological retraining, and community support systems are all part of this response. It also requires a fundamental reassessment of how we value work in an age of technological change. This is not just about numbers on a chart. It is about reclaiming dignity, opportunity, and hope for a society feeling the weight of unprecedented job losses. Now imagine a future where policy and progress converge to rebuild the foundation of our labor market. A future where job displacement from technology is met with swift action to reskill and empower the American workforce. In this future, federal agencies work hand in hand with private enterprises to create jobs that are both innovative and sustainable. This vision calls for policymakers to harness the lessons of the past and avoid repeating historical missteps. It is an invitation for all Americans to consider how best to confront the unique challenges of a modern economy and ensure a more stable, inclusive future. The narrative of America's labor market is still being written. Today's statistics, daunting as they are, represent a moment in time, a critical juncture where decisive action can make all the difference. Historical comparisons to the Great Depression are not made lightly. They serve to remind us that even the most severe economic crises can be overcome. There is a resilient spirit embedded in the fabric of this nation, one that has persevered through past hardships and stands ready to face new challenges. The ongoing dialogue surrounding policy reforms and adaptive strategies is itself a testament to our capacity for renewal. In closing, we are reminded that understanding our current economic challenges requires not only numbers and data, but also human stories and historical wisdom. The remarkable losses of jobs in recent months echo the turmoil of decades past, but also spark conversations about reform, innovation, and the promise of recovery. As we continue to analyze the interplay of federal cuts, technological shifts, and market dynamics, we are driven by a central truth. Our future lies in informed decision-making and collaborative resilience. Let us honor the lessons of the past as we forge new pathways towards recovery and prosperity. Our journey through these turbulent economic times demands careful reflection and bold policy action. We stand at a pivotal moment, much like the turning points of history, where choices made today shape the reality of tomorrow. Let us honor the lessons of the past as we forge new pathways towards recovery and prosperity. Stay informed on the evolving job market and understand the factors contributing to these significant changes.